The last year, I've been in the fortunate position to interview some of the best traders in the world, whether that's Robin Cups world champions or the #1 traders from various prop firms or individuals who have made a lot of money with proven track records and a whole host of profitable trading styles, whether that's intraday, scalp trading, all the way to swing trading. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the key lessons and the 5 laws of probability of what every trader needs to understand to really come to terms with how to be profitable. Over the last year, I've been able to give over 70 public signals, tracking over 57% gain by giving live callouts of the trade ahead of time with the full documentation, full transparency. Nobody has ever done that. And the only way that I can do that is not only because I have years under my belt, not only because I've been working on my psychology, rather is because I'm in a position where I can learn from others, challenge my own beliefs, and truly build an edge around that by truly understanding the laws of probability and the laws of what it takes to be a profitable trader. Law number 1 is the home runs don't come often. Those black swan events where the market flies and rallies and you can get that huge life-changing trade, that happens once in a while. That's not what it takes to be a trader. The reality is majority of your profits will be taken in ordinary situations. And therefore what you have to realize is you're not aiming for that life-changing trade. That is a very novice beginner mindset. What you need to focus on is small wins, because that's what compounds your account. And the reason I say this is because you might have heard of the story of the chicken trader. Yes, you heard correct. There is a profile with a chicken online, and that chicken not only has got hundreds of thousands in funding, but has actually taken over $2,000 in payouts. And how is that chicken doing this? Because the chicken is approaching the market from a yes-no binary buy-sell situation. And if you always approach the market like that, you will never truly access the wonder of compounding interest in the markets. Now, what I truly believe is if you have a solid win rate, if you have a solid risk to reward, you can have nice big chunks of profit when you hit that 1 to 5, that 1 to 10 risk reward trade, but that will not be a daily occurrence. Always take a partial, not based on your goals of where you think price is going to go. Take a partial based on locking something in, paying for your next loss and a small incremental gain in your account. And why this is so powerful is because you actually don't need to be correct to be able to do this. You can get the markets wrong, and if you take profit in a sensible way, you can actually take a partial and then still hit break even. Therefore, after speaking to many traders, and the advice I can give to you that I've been applying myself is take partials early. Take 50% of your volume within a very early span. So myself, when I'm trading with a small stop loss of 4 or 5 pips, and I know the session volatility, the movement in a London session on a GBP USD is something like 15-20 pips. Within a session, I can usually do a 1 to 5 if that's optimized. So I take a partial at 1 to 3, no matter what, because it's very easy for me to catch 10-15 pips, even if I'm wrong in the directional bias of the 1-hour market structure, because I'm trading reactions. And there's been times in my public signals where I've given live call outs and I've been wrong 5 trades in a row. Every single one of those 5 trades went back to hit break even, but because I was catching small wins at 1 to 3 risk to reward, I was taking 50% of my position. That means out of all of those 5 trades that were wrong, where I hit break even, I was actually able to gain 1.5 R on each one of those trades. So at the end of the week, I can be up 3, 4, 5% whilst I was still wrong. And that's how you play the probability game. And the power of that is it compounds your account. You can be a little bit more aggressive in your trading when a good opportunity comes. You can modify your risk when you have an A+ setup. There are so many downstream benefits when you can capitalize on the markets when you are wrong. And you might think, well, Waqar, if I take partials early, that time that I hit my final TP, I only have 50% of my volume, so I don't get that full risk to reward gain. My answer to you is, rather than optimizing your system for those perfect trades, which will not be every single trade, in fact, it's probably a small portion of those trades that hits your full take profit. Why not optimize your system for the rest, the average trades, the losing trades? That's where majority of your trading is. Number 2 is psychology. Now, every single podcast I've done, we've spoken on the topic of psychology, and every trader has their unique view. Some traders believe that psychology is a coping mechanism. Other of the guests I've had on the show say that if you have traders that have the same strategy, but you get different outcomes, the reason is because of psychology. In fact, it's the most important thing. So despite having various views and a whole debate, what I truly want you to understand is the key to all of it. The advice from all of the guests, the common answer is you've got to reduce your anchors, and you've got to reduce the things that weigh you down mentally. What that looks like looks like is before you add things to your plate, before you look to add journaling and you look to add meditation and you look to add going to the gym and you look to add morning routines and breath work and all these things you can add. But there's no point doing any of that before you take away the anchors. That means if you are addicted to TikTok, you're addicted to cheap dopamine, you're addicted to junk food, you're addicted to sugar, you're addicted to drugs, you're addicted to socializing, you're addicted to anything. All of these things, they are distractions, they're escapism, and these things have an effect on your mind. Because if you have a kind of mind that cannot even read one page of a book without losing concentration, it's because your mind is so used to cheap, easy, quick dopamine from scrolling on social media, from playing video games. When you achieve something in the real world, your body is designed to release dopamine to encourage and positively reinforce that behavior. Meaning, you did great in your exams at university, you get some dopamine. You hit a new PR in the gym, you get some dopamine. Now you can hack your dopamine with just scrolling on social media, and your body does not know the difference. You become addicted to this cheap dopamine because it's positively reinforced. You will naturally take the route of least resistance. And what that means is you'll have a mind with brain fog and no focus. And now coming to the market with that kind of mental clarity is going to rob you of your profitability. You've got to remove your anchors first and then understand the markets and the industry, how they are pulling you psychologically. Just look at the leaderboards on prop firms. That is making you chase a high. That is making you chase status. What is the point of prop firm certificates? It's to say, hey, you have achieved something, go show it to your friends and family. What does every trader do when they get a payout? They go and buy a Rolex. Everything traders do is around status, proving it to your friends, proving it to your family, proving it to social media, whatever it may be. You're chasing validation. And if you have this approach in the market, what are you going to do? If you have a bad week, your ego will be hurt and you will chase that validation more. So what does that mean? You'll trade more aggressively. You'll look for more and more ways to feed your ego so that you can have that social media post. So my advice, and the advice of many of the traders I've had on the podcast, is isolate yourself and lock in, removing your anchors, removing other people's voices, removing opinions, and gaining mental clarity. My belief is psychology is not something we need to achieve. Rather, psychology is something we need to do through removing things that weigh us down. Once you're at a baseline, your edge, your technicals will be the most important thing. If you're down here psychologically, then removing that gap is the most important thing to come to baseline so that you can execute on your edge without these anchors and emotions. Advice number 3 is data. There is not a single trader that I've spoken to that hasn't hyper-focused on data. In fact, it's impossible to be a profitable trader if you don't focus on the data. If you don't know how many times in the last 1,000 trades you should have 5 losses in a row, then of course you're going to act emotionally if you take 5 losses in a row, because people just take trades randomly. They have all of these concepts and strategy in their mind and they look to throw it in the market every day and see what works. That is an unprofessional approach. And if you want to learn from these profitable traders that I've spoken to, every single one of them defines an edge first and backs it with data, and then a trader's job is simply to follow the plan. The plan means what the data says. So if you have not been obsessive over data, if you don't have a hierarchy of saying these are my 10 confluences of why I get into a trade, which ones are mandatory, which ones are non-negotiable, and which ones are preferential. If I'm missing one of these, I cannot take the trade. If you don't know the answer to these questions, you have not done the work yet. And instead of trying to focus on getting better trades and more trades, every single one of you can take profitable trades. The key is how many losses do you take in between? And the only way you can do that is if you obsess over data. You need to know your edge to a T. You need to be able to define your edge and write it down if somebody's to ask you. And you should know all the moving parts of how frequent you take trades, what type of trades, what time of day, what does A plus setup look like, what does a B plus setup look like. You need to know all of these things so that you know as a trader if you're deviating away from your edge, and you assess what does my data look like today and what it should look like based on my back testing. If you can see there in line, based on my edge shows I should take 3 trades a week and on average I should have an 80% win rate, and then you look back over your last 50 trades and you say, yep, I'm in line, then you know, keep carrying on. But if you start to take more trades or more losses and you don't know what your reference data point is, then you'll just keep going down that path and end up somewhere in an unprofitable situation. The key to mastering trading is probability and data. Data, data, data. Leading on from that, the slogan of this channel and advice number 4 is a restricted trader is a profitable trader. What that means is you don't want to be like that chicken that just keeps flipping a coin and still making profit in the market, because every single trader on earth, even a chicken, can take profitable trades. So start judging yourself if you're able to take profitable trades. There's nothing impressive. What's impressive is how you take the winning trade. Did you control yourself before you got into the trade? Was that trade part of the plan? Do you even have a plan? Because I would be more impressed if you took a losing trade that was part of the plan, then you took a great winning trade that made a payout, but it was a random gambling, non-part of a plan trade, because that's only going to benefit you in the short term. A truly profitable trader is restricted because regardless of the outcome of a trade, win or loss, what's more important is the plan. And you have the ability to say no. You have the ability to sit on your hands and be patient and know that today is not my day. Even if the trade looks great, if it doesn't follow your plan, you have to be restricted, because a restricted trader is a profitable trader. And the last piece of advice I want to give is treat your trading like a business. Now what that means is, in business you have costs. In business you have employees, run rates, you have churn, you have all of these data sets. And as a trader you will experience certain things, because it's not just earning money. It's not like a job where you turn up to your job and you get paid. You have to treat your trading like a business, because you need to know the ins and outs. You need to know your numbers. You need to do your journaling to see what's going on. You need to check it to your balance sheet. You need to check it to your previous revenue to judge performance. There's so many things you need to do. And if you allow your brain to think, treat trading like a business, you'll always be in a more correct frame of mind. Now, certain things that you need to understand is, when you take a loss, consider it a cost of business, just like you invest in employees, just like you invest in an office. So same in the markets, when you take losses, you understand if it's a loss you were supposed to take based on your edge, based on the probability, then you say it's a cost of business. So that stops you being so emotional, because you don't see it as a loss. You see it as an investment in your edge, because this is part of the plan. You can't win every trade. Moreover, when you go through prop firms, instead of thinking, I just lost this money because I blew my account, you say, no, it's the cost of business. And when you invest money in prop firm accounts and you come out with profit, that's like a business investment. You spent $1,000 in prop firm challenge evaluations and you came out with a 10K payout over time. That's how traders work. And you have to be removing yourself from this understanding that you have to be perfect. The problem with the schooling system, the problem with how we are raised, is we are always taught to judge ourselves if we achieve. We're always told, achieve goals, achieve that A+ grade, try and win that game. You're always taught to be leading with winning and judging yourself on if you win. And in fact, if you do not win, if you fail an exam, for example, you're taught study harder so that you can pass next time. You should react to failing an exam or losing a game. While in trading it's different, because losses are guaranteed. So you should not punish yourself. You should not look to change things every time you take a loss, because that's what the schooling system, that's what life has taught us. But in the markets, we're supposed to be calm and collected. We take losses and it's part of the game. We take a loss and we're not supposed to run to change things. This is ordinary, this is expected, and we should not therefore be reactionary. And we have to change our mindset to say, this losses happen in business, losses happen in the market. Take it as that and nothing more. Because it's very important to understand, you cannot go through the markets aimlessly. It's a very hard thing to do to be a profitable trader, because the market is a zero-sum game. Money is not created or destroyed. It just goes from one hand to another. And therefore, if you want to be profitable, you have to be competing with others. And the way you compete is by mastering yourself, mastering your edge, mastering probability, so that you can achieve profitability. If you're going through the markets aimlessly, just trying to learn information from YouTube, buying course after course, and always trying to learn and add and add and add, it's not enough, because you're going through the markets without aim. And I understand where that comes from. Believe me, through the academic career that I've had by going through dental school, all I was ingrained to do was learn, study, apply. If I fail an exam, study more. Life teaches you that when you take a